Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, my dear God sister and Leela Manjari. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to our Gurudevs.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. Oh, how are you all today? I'm going to wait just a minute or so. Let's see if anyone gets on. Well, maybe I should just start right away. That's right. I believe today it's 2 verses. They're not that long. I believe we have verses 14 and 15. Okay. I'll start the prayers. Om Jnana Timirandasya Ganananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Tarati Sva Padantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Narayanam Namaskritya, Naram Chaiva, Narottamam, Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam, Tato Jayam Udirayet, Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Bhagavati Uttama Shloke, Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Well, I just got this message here from Leela Manjari, and I do not know how to do share screen. I'm sorry.
Mataji, can you tell the verses again? I'll try to do that.
Yes. We are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 11. These are verses 14 and 15 today.
Okay, Mataji.
Yes, 14 and 15.
Yeah, Mataji is already sharing. Okay, thank you,
Okay,
Mataji.
hold on. I'm just turning the light on so I can see what I'm doing. It's kind of dark in this room. Okay.
Thank you, Subhavi Mataji.
Most welcome.
Okay. Text 14. Samprasane Bhagavati Purusha Prakriter Gune Vimukto Jiva Nirmukto Brahma Nirvanam Vichati. Translations and purports by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Okay, translation. One who actually satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead during one's lifetime becomes liberated from the gross and subtle material conditions. Thus, being freed from all material modes of nature, he achieves unlimited spiritual bliss. Purport. In the previous verse, it has been explained that one should treat all living entities with tolerance, mercy, friendship, and equality. By such behavior, one satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and upon his satisfaction, the devotee immediately becomes free from all material conditions. The Lord also confirms this in the Bhagavad Gita. Anyone who sincerely and seriously engages in my service immediately becomes situated in the transcendental stage, wherein he can enjoy unlimited spiritual bliss. Everyone in this material world is struggling hard in order to achieve blissful life. Unfortunately, people do not know how to achieve it. Atheists do not believe in God, and certainly they do not please him. Here it is clearly said that upon pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one immediately attains to the spiritual platform and enjoys unlimited blissful life. To become free from material existence means to become free from the influence of material nature. The word samprasane, which is used in this verse, means being satisfied. A person should act in such a way that the Lord is satisfied by the activity. It is not that he himself is to be satisfied. Of course, when the Lord is satisfied, the devotee automatically becomes satisfied. This is the secret of the process of bhakti yoga. Outside of bhakti yoga, everyone is trying to satisfy himself. No one is trying to satisfy the Lord. Karmis grossly try to satisfy their senses, but even those who are elevated to the platform of knowledge also try to satisfy themselves in a subtle form. Karmis try to satisfy themselves by sense gratification, and jnanis try to satisfy themselves by subtle activities or mental speculation and thinking themselves to be God. Yogis also try to satisfy themselves by thinking that they can achieve different mystic perfections. But only devotees try to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The devotee's process of self-realization is completely different from the processes of the karmis, jnanis, and yogis. Everyone else is trying to satisfy himself, whereas the devotee tries only to satisfy the Lord. The devotional process is completely different from the others. By working to please the Lord, by engaging his senses in the Lord's loving service, the devotee is immediately situated on the transcendental platform, and he enjoys unlimited blissful life. Okay, I think I can read both of them because it's not that they're that long. Okay, text 15. Bhute panchabir arabder yoshit purusha evahi tayor vyavayat sambutir yoshit purushayor iha. Translation: the creation of the material world begins with the 5 elements, and thus everything, including the body of a man or a woman, is created of these elements. By the sexual life of man and woman, the number of men and women in this material world is further increased. Purport: when Swayambhuva Manu saw that Dhruva Maharaj understood the philosophy of Vaishnavism and yet was still dissatisfied because of his brother's death, he gave him an explanation of how this material body is created by the 5 elements of material nature. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also confirmed, Prakrite Kriyamanani, everything is created, maintained, and annihilated by the material modes of nature. In the background, of course, there is the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Mayad Hakshena. In the 9th chapter, Krishna says, quote, under my superintendence, material nature is acting, unquote. Swayambhuva Manu wanted to impress on Dhruva Maharaj that the death of the material body of his brother was not actually the Yaksha's fault. It was an act of the material nature. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has immense varieties of potencies, and they act in different gross and subtle ways. It is by such powerful potencies that the universe is created. Although grossly it appears to be no more than the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Similarly, the bodies of all species of living entities, whether human beings or demigods, animals or birds, are also created by the same 5 elements. And by sexual union, they expand into more and more living entities. That is the way of creation, maintenance, and annihilation. One should not be disturbed by the waves of material nature in this process. Dhruva Maharaj was indirectly advised not to be afflicted by the death of his brother, because our relationship with the body is completely material. The real self, spirit soul, is never annihilated or killed by anyone. Okay. So I'll go back to text 14. We know as devotees, it says in the translation, that if we satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead in this one lifetime, we can become liberated and go back to Godhead. Okay. And we become liberated from what? From all these material conditions that we're in, the gross and the subtle. And once we are freed from these modes of material nature, we achieve unlimited bliss or unlimited spiritual bliss. Now, this is interesting. It says in the previous verse, it has been explained, one should treat all living entities with tolerance, mercy, friendship, and equality. Now, this means not just devotees. It means all the living entities. Even, Guru Maharaj has talked about this so many times. He said, you're not allowed to kill an ant. You're not allowed to kill a fly. From the smallest living entity up to the biggest. We have to practice these qualities of tolerance, mercy, friendship, and equality. And so if we do that, now, I don't know, I'm going to speak for myself. No, I can speak for others too in this. Sometimes it seems like an impossible task, okay? It's like, oh, why do I have to do this with this person who's so difficult? And, I know I have people in my life with whom I believe have been put there because I needed to work through my karma. It still doesn't mean that when I'm practicing this tolerance, and that doesn't mean that I'm not going to have any feelings about it. That comes up for me quite a bit. And I'll give you another example. I was at the dentist's office last Friday, in fact, getting my tooth. But the prior time that I went, there was an assistant to the dentist, and she was helping him to measure the new tooth that I was going to get. And I don't know why, I was anxious. I made a comment. He said, oh, you have the possibility of getting a gold tooth if you want. And I made this off-color joke, which it sounded racist and it sounded terrible. And then I realized that it was Hispanic, okay? And the assistant was Hispanic. And as soon as I said it, the whole room just dropped. No, I mean, you could hear a pin drop. And I turned around and immediately I said, I am so sorry I said that. I said it was, I didn't mean it. Please, I apologize. It was very inappropriate of me. And so this person, when I went back to the dentist this past Friday, they put another person in there instead of her to assist me with putting my tooth in. And I know in my heart of hearts that I had offended her, even though I really didn't mean to. So I called the dentist today, and the secretary, and I said, do you feel it would be okay if I sent a letter, a little note, a little card to the assistant and apologized again? And she said, oh, I think that would be most appropriate. So we don't know just who we can offend. Even though we're meaning something one way, people can take it in the wrong way. And so, I went out today and I bought a card. Oh, woe is me. But I really wanted to apologize in a formal way, personally, because I'd like to have a relationship. And I just said, if you so choose to forgive me, I would like to be forgiven. Now, some people say, oh, you went out of your way. You didn't have to do that. You know what? We are Vaishnavas. And we have to treat everybody the way we would like to be treated. I don't care who they are. So that for me was an example of doing something that I believe the Lord would be pleased with. It doesn't have to be direct all the time, but when we serve people and we do it with our heart, I believe the Lord accepts this. And that's what he's saying here. When the Lord is satisfied, the devotee becomes free from material conditions. Now, I'm not saying I'm free of all material conditions, but I'd like to develop, I'm sure all of us do, I would personally like to develop nice qualities, because, we're all devotees. When we go around not treating people right, they could be other devotees, they could be karmis. It doesn't matter who it is. They still belong to the Lord. Then I feel myself, I don't feel very spiritual when I'm doing those things. We don't get to do that. Okay. So to be situated in that transcendental stage, we can enjoy unlimited spiritual bliss. But of course, our attitude, I guess Guru always says, we have to be in the proper mood. Okay. It's the mood. It's the consciousness with which we do things. Okay. And so everybody, as Prabhupada says here, everybody wants to have a blissful life, but they don't know how to, most people don't know how to do it. Okay. I personally feel privileged, and I'm sure all the Vaishnavas are privileged to know that they know how to achieve it. We have the answer, but we must actually practice this. Now, we know that atheists are going to have a harder time because they don't believe in God. And so who are they going to please but themselves, right? They don't pray to any Lord. They don't believe that there's any God that's going to assist them. I mean, they don't, it's not even a question of, oh, well, maybe they think it's the universe or something that's God. No, they don't believe in any kind of God. Okay. And I have met many like this when I worked in law firms for a good 12 years. And they would say to me, no, I have no belief in God. I said, oh, you're kidding me. Well, what do you do when things become difficult? Oh, nothing. We're not going to go anywhere after this life. I'm like, okay, so I could not be happy like that personally. So pleasing the Lord will bring one to the spiritual platform. Okay. And so we have to act, not just know all of our rules, because we know, Gurudev tells us what to do all the time. He tells us constantly. I feel it's a question of walk the walk and talk the talk. If you're going to talk like you know the scriptures, live this. I have to learn to live the scriptures. Okay. And another thing that's important here is that to become free from the material existence doesn't mean we have to leave it. We just have to be free of the influence of the material nature. I have people in my life that, do say the most insane things to me. And I think, oh my God, how am I going to forgive this? I can feel a resentment starting to come up. And so immediately I have to turn to the Lord, and first of all, it's to Gurudev and to Srila Prabhupada. I have to ask for help. I have to say, help me to watch my tongue, that I don't say anything to offend. Even if this person was offensive, it doesn't matter. I must not return likewise. I must act spiritually and do what the Lord would want me to do. I'm certainly not a martyr. I can see at times that, oh my gosh, I get butterflies in my stomach and my feet shake, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to get through this situation. But if I just say, you know what, Gurudev, I'm going to give this situation to you. Please take care of it for me. Show me what you want me to do. Not, okay, Lord, this is what I'm going to do. Once I'm doing that, I'm trying to be God again. And that's not what would make the Lord happy. Okay, so to become detached from material nature is to not be affected by these three modes of material nature. And it's not easy to do. But when I don't know what to do, I begin to pray. And that's the only answer that we have, is to go directly to the source, because we know that the Lord protects us. So if we're satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead with our mood, with our behavior, with our actions, with our thoughts, with our devotional service and how we execute it, then the Lord is satisfied. Then we become satisfied. So and we know this in our heart. Someone would say to me, well, how do you know this? Well, you know it. You feel it in your heart. You've done the right thing. You've done the best you can. It's just like, I'm going to send this woman, this lady, this card, and I'm thinking, oh boy, what if she doesn't accept my apology? Well, you know what? I can't do anything more about it. At least I feel I've done the best I could. And that's about the best I can do. So it says, this is the secret of the process of bhakti yoga. So we know that outside of devotional service, and Guru has said it time and time again, devotional service is everything. There is nothing in this manifestation, in this world and outside of this world that is higher than devotional service. Okay, devotional service is as high as you can go. And so it's amazing to me that most people don't even know it. I didn't even know it years back. I mean, and I was claiming to be, spiritual. You know what? Nobody today, we're in Kali Yuga, nobody's trying to satisfy the Lord. They're trying to satisfy themselves. Now, we know that the karmis out there are trying to satisfy their senses in every which way. The gluttony of the food, overindulgence, oversleeping, being lazy, working to make money so they can have a better position and have more, things, and all kinds of things, satisfying their sex life, all these things. Okay. But even the ones who have knowledge, there are karmis out there who begin, to pray to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and for help and this and that. They have some knowledge, but they're still trying to satisfy themselves. But sometimes they do it subtly. And this is very true. Guru has pointed this out so many times. You can think, oh, I'm going to do this favor for this person. And you go and you do this favor, but you're thinking, oh, isn't that something? I did this person a favor 3 times and they didn't say thank you, or they didn't send me a card, or they didn't acknowledge me. It might be subtle. You might not say anything. Like I might not say anything if I don't get a reciprocation from someone, but I could feel it sometimes and like, oh, that doesn't feel good, because I'm still looking for somehow to be reciprocated. Okay. And so that's one example in the subtle form of trying to satisfy, oneself. And we have the Gyanis, and they, they do all of this speculation, and they're reading all of these books, and maybe on comparative religions, and I want to know about Vedanta. I want to know about Jnani. I used to think like that myself. I have books like that, but it had nothing to do with pleasing the Lord, nothing. And it was all about pleasing myself and maybe puffing myself up with knowledge. Okay. Now we have yogis out there, many. I don't know about the ones in India, but the ones in the US that I've run across, yes, they can perform different mystic perfections. They go into these yoga postures. They talk about nirvana. I have achieved the height. All of these different ways do not include devotional service or bhakti. So that's why devotees, the Vaishnavas, in our line, we are different, or let's say our process of realizing ourselves is completely different from those others, from the karmis, the gyanis, and the yogis. Okay, so what we are trying to do, even if we haven't achieved it perfectly, we're trying to satisfy the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this is not something that is done in these other types of, how can I say, yogas. They don't include devotional service. And I once met, I was doing the Maha Mantra at a yoga clinic. And the owner, not the owner, but I guess manager, let's put it that way, or one of the managers, I had seen him at our temple. He would come once in a while. And I said, oh, wow. I said, it's so nice that you're coming. Oh, you want to, what do you think, about, devotional service? He said, oh, I'm not ready for devotional service. He said, I don't care if I have to come back so many lifetimes. I'll take how did he put it? I'll take an exalted life on a higher heavenly planet. I'm just not ready to go directly like that. No, I can't do that. So some people really, they know, and they don't choose to do it. Okay. So if we're doing this, if we're engaging our senses in the Lord's service, then we're situated on the transcendental platform and we enjoy unlimited blissful life. However, when I read that, I'm just going to give one other example I think is important. I was talking to a devotee, well, I don't remember, a little while back. And she and I were discussing a few things. And I said, well, you know, we're talking about a certain behavior. And, you know, she was kind of telling me, well, you know, you don't do this right. And okay, that's fine. So I felt a little bad about it. And I thought, wow, I'm being judged, you know. But I looked at, oh, you know, you're a devotee, so you should listen to what I'm telling you. You should take my whatever advice or whatever. And I thought about what she said. And then when I talked to her the other day, I was pointing something out to her, and she said, oh, I don't have to worry about my anartas because the Lord, I just surrender everything to Krishna and he'll take them away little by little. And I just cannot believe that that is what we're supposed to be doing. That is part of what we're supposed to be doing. We are supposed to be trying to engage our senses in the Lord's service. But as we're doing that, we must be making an attempt to change our behaviors. And instead of just saying, well, you know, I'm just going to surrender this behavior to the Lord and he'll just take it. No, I think it's been discussed by many spiritual masters. We have to become conscious of those behaviors and stop it. You know, because then we start offending others, and then we're not going to know bliss. That this is just what I'm getting from this. And when I said this to her, I thought, oh, this person said, well, you know, I've been doing this for like 45 years. And I said, okay. In other words, she was not willing to hear something from me because I was newer in Krishna consciousness than she was, even though we are friends, you know. She didn't want to hear it. She didn't want to hear anything. And I thought, okay, I see. I just said, you can't tell me that I don't know what the word is, that I'm attached to this, this, and this, when you know, you also have attachments. I mean, come on. And, you know, I see it and no, I just give that to Krishna. So I personally didn't feel right about that. I felt that was wrong. But, you know, I let it go. And I said, well, this person has her own path, you know, but I can't believe the person can be that blissful if they're holding in things that are harmful to them or others, okay, and to themselves. So that's text 14. Would anybody like to, did anybody have any comments about this text 14? You know what, maybe I should just do 15 also, then there'll be plenty of time to talk. All right, and so now in this text 15, we have to realize that every single thing that has been created in the material world has 5 elements, right? These are gross elements, if I'm not mistaken. The earth, fire, water, air, and ether. And then there are a couple of subtle elements. I believe that's mind and intelligence. But even man and we are all created by those elements, even the living entities. This is all a creation of the material world within the 3 modes of material nature. Now, Swayambhuva Manu, he saw that Dhruva Maharaj understood all of this Vaishnavism, but yet he was still dissatisfied because of his brother's death. He tried to explain to him, look, this body is created by those 5 elements. Okay, we are not the body. And he said that everything that's created is maintained and annihilated, all three, by the material modes of nature. So, and behind that, we know that the Lord is behind everything. He says, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, under my superintendence, material nature is acting. So he wanted to impress upon Dhruva Maharaj, look, stop fighting. You're killing all these yakshas, and it's not actually all of their fault that your brother is, died. Okay. And it was explained even further, in previous purports. Look, you can't blame all of them, the yakshas, on the behavior of one individual. This is most sinful, most inappropriate. And so he tried to explain to him, look, this is an act of material nature. And the Lord can act in many different ways, both gross and subtle. So wait a minute, just a minute. I'm trying to get the point here. Basically, the whole point is that he was trying to point out that Dhruva Maharaj should not be disturbed, okay, and not to be afflicted by the material nature, because this whole thing that went on was all part of the material of the five elements, okay, of material nature, and it's going to go with material nature. It's not anything that's going to be transcendental or anything that's going to last. And he was advised not to be afflicted by his brother's death, because our relationship, or his relationship with the body, is material. And so that his brother, his real soul, was never going to be annihilated or killed by anyone. So that which was going on that he witnessed made him so upset. He became so afflicted and attached to this. It was totally material, and it would go with the material world, but his soul would still be there. His soul was immortal, and he had to realize that his soul would live on forever. And he wasn't really killed in that sense, because the soul can never be killed. So that's my understanding of these two texts. Would someone like to make a comment or correct me or add something, anything you'd like? Who's on? Is it just Sri Devi and Lavanya Mataji? Leela Mandri, I don't know if she's going to answer today. I know she turned it on. She's recording this, but I don't know that she's actually on at the moment.
Thank you, Govardhan Leela, for explaining in depth about these verses. We just have about 3 minutes left. I don't know the Zoom link, whether they need it for something else. So I guess we have to keep it really brief, whatever we have to say.
I think my understanding is we can stay on for 1 hour. I believe on Friday they'll cut us off. You might be right, but I'm not sure about that. We're still doing it for 1 hour.
Oh, we're doing it at 7:15, because the text message says 6:15 to 7.
Oh, was there a text message?
Yeah, to